There we go. We have a special guest today.
The actual boss.
Right? That would be great. If you just stayed in character the whole time.
That would have been so funny.
And then just talk about the women's battle royal the whole time.
It finally happened.
Yep.
Oh, the will they, won't they fight thing?
It finally fucking happened. I just really hope they take him out of the battle royal and give him a singles match, because I mean, they're gonna put him in the battle royal and they're gonna eliminate each other and fight all the way back up the ramp. We've seen it 1,000,000 times, and because that made any sense, 1,000,000. But you know what I'm saying. So I don't know, but it finally happened. So
maybe they'll turn it into they'll fight up the ramp like that, and then they'll say General Manager Kurt Angle has decided to add that match to the card as a singles match.
Falls count anywhere.
Or it can come down to the two of them.
They can be the last two. I
gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited for this feud now that it's finally in motion, because these two together, you know, outside of WWE, they are such great friends and they're so close, and they grew up with each other in NXT. They know how the other one thinks, and that they're going to put on incredible matches. You know, we enjoyed a lot of the matches that Charlotte and Sasha had, and you're going to get a similar feel, I think, with these two. And it's going to give Bayley a chance, too, to really get out there and put on these 30-minute matches.
Yeah.
You know, so nothing but positive things.
Absolutely.
Because Bayley's just like, honestly, Bayley's been really stagnant lately. I don't know. Here's what I think happened. My opinion is with Bayley is that she won the title that one time because Sasha cheated and helped her win, and then they wanted her to give the title back. Now, the babyface thing to do would be, broke the rules. Upon further review, I'll give the title back, and then have another match where she wins it for real. But they didn't do that. She just kept it like a child would do. You know, it was like just not the best decision. Speaking of the Women's Royal Rumble, I'm going to screen share for a second. Have you seen the trophy for the Women's Royal Rumble?
No.
It's kind of cringy.
It's not great.
It looks like a horseshoe.
What the heck?
No,
it looks like a vagina.
Right, it looks like the diagram of the ovaries that you see in health class.
It's a thumb.
I thought that was a joke.
No, that's real. They showed that on television.
I saw.
Oh my God!
They decided that.
Wow.
Yeah, the old ovary trophy. They had to replace Moolah with something, so that's what they went with.
So they just swapped the vagina on the trophy.
Somebody made a great suggestion on Reddit. They're like, why don't they just make the trophy a big Snickers bar at the top? Which I'd be totally okay with. Just put a 5-pound Snickers bar at the top of the trophy.
And they slowly...
I would give it back. I seriously would give it back.
Yeah.
Would you smell it first?
No.
Listen, quite honestly, at the end of the day, this battle royal is going to mean nothing, just like the men's means nothing. It's literally just a way for everybody in that locker room to get a payday and go out there and get showcased. I mean, look at the ones that have won the men's. They've gone nowhere, you know, in terms of because of that.
Will they go
for the women?
The women get a title shot for that?
Is that no? I think you just
I don't know. It's just glory.
You should get a trophy.
Oh boy,
you should get the vagina trophy.
That's great.
Where's Bad News Brown when you need him to beat the shit out of a trophy?
Or
right.
And Brett did it once too.
The shit out of a crown.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All good things. Yeah, that would be great if the woman, who won the thing, broke the trophy, just smashed the shit out of it, like totally healed out, and just gave a pile driver. I used to watch when Al Snow comes around. I don't know if he does it anymore, but when he bring Head with him, sometimes at the end of the match, him and Head, like if he lost the match, he'd get into an argument with Head and blame it for the loss, and then give Head a pile driver.
Yes.
I've seen this live. It's ridiculous. But imagine someone giving a pile driver to the women's battle royal trophy.
You're giving a pile driver to a vagina.
Hey,
I mean, hey, how many kids do you have?
That takes balls.
That's how it happens, right?
Already, yeah. You know.
By God, he hit her with a pile driver. She'll feel that one for 9 months.
What can I say? I'm married to the genetic jackhammer.
Oh God.
Hey,
He has. I mean, Justin must be packing because I mean, you've got like 8 kids, 12 kids.
I have 4, but if you want a real laugh, my mother told me 2 days ago that my son needs a brother, so she asked me to give her another grandchild.
I'm gonna say the same thing I said to my one of my cousins. Are you trying to field a baseball team?
I was never trying to field anything.
All right, because if you need 9, I don't know how you're gonna do that. But I'm saying if you can try it, just join Little League. You don't need to have 9 kids to form your own team.
My luck is I would have another girl. So I was like,
You need another one.
yeah, there was exactly.
Just have 2 more, just to be safe.
No, that's okay. I said if I did get pregnant and I had it, it's going to her house. Done.
It's like a rescue animal.
You want it so bad, you can have it.
I give up. You can have it.
So listen, I wanna. We have a bit to cover. I want to kind of switch gears because I have a theory, and
he's got a theory.
I have a theory, and I want to see what you guys think.
All right.
So, as we all know, a few days ago there was a house show, and the house show brought Bray Wyatt back to the ring with Matt Hardy, and in signs of what potentially could be happening to the Bray Wyatt character is that he is going to become woken and he's going to join Brother Nero and Brother Hardy and the Clan. Now, a lot of people are kind of like, you know,
he's going to join the Clan.
That's a theory and a rumor. But now here's what I'm thinking, because there's a lot of people that are kind of digging the idea. There's a lot of people that are like, you got to be fucking kidding me. This is just stupid. And, you know, Bray needs to stay being Bray. Here's my theory to that. What if they redid the Orton storyline in a way? Orton joined the Wyatt family to infiltrate from the inside and take down the Wyatts from the inside out. So now what if they reverse it and have Bray become woken to infiltrate from the inside and keep this feud going?
What if that's how they break Matt Hardy so he can be broken?
Right. Well, that's a way to do it too.
Because here's I guess the idea is that Sister Abigail is no longer a part of Bray Wyatt, if that's what we're going to now. So
but I'm thinking it's all bullshit.
But maybe it's
Bray trying to get in to break up the broken universe from the inside out.
Sister Abigail is still in control of Bray Wyatt's soul, and he's pretending to not be possessed anymore, but he still is. The fact that we're saying this all with a straight face, and trying to decipher it, this is like Game of Thrones, and we're talking about White Walkers and shit. Only we're actually talking about a spooky character on a wrestling show.
But you know what, though? It's 2 characters that we love the characters. I mean, I have to say that, to me, the whole Hardy Woken gimmick, there's still something missing. It's not what it was in TNA, and I don't get as excited. I think even the entrance music, like it's just, it's a little too much. I think
it's overproduced.
It is overproduced. I agree. And I think it needs to go back. You know, I was very hopeful because Jeremy Borash has now been signed, and he had a lot to do with the original Broken Hardy. And I'm hoping that, you know, especially now, I think for me, I think what might have been the key factor and what was missing was Jeff Hardy. And
yeah, I was going to say this is a big part of that.
Right. And if Brother Nero is on his way back and he's going to, go full gimmick like they did in TNA, now we already got a taste that Rebby's not necessarily off the table. I mean, shit, even Maxwell,
Right.
and Senor Benjamin. So, I mean, I think, there's still a lot more that they can do to get us to feel like we did back in TNA. But we're just not there yet. It's still missing something. Like, I know guys who I've pretty much introduced the broken character now for the first time because they didn't watch TNA.
Right.
And they think it's the dumbest fucking thing they've ever seen. And it's like, you had to see it from the beginning to kind of
appreciate it.
I that's how Justin feels about it.
That's
how I feel about it. Because he never watched it in TNA, so he's like last night, the whole thing he did, he had no way, he did not understand Ultimate Deletion at all.
You kind of have to, like, at that point, if you're going to introduce somebody to it, you have to have a day set aside and you have to go on the network. Or
exactly
you can't even go on the network. What am I saying?
You go on
YouTube.
No, GWN, the Global Wrestling Network, TNA's archive, which is much like WWE Network.
Well, right. So you can
it's also on YouTube.
You can see, the EC3 Matt Hardy feud where ultimately became broken, and which, not for nothing, was a phenomenal feud to watch. Anyway, they did magic in the ring, as far as I'm concerned. It was one of the better moments of TNA, which you hadn't seen in a while.
Right.
Absolutely.
I agree.
So, but yeah, so that's my theory. I think that could work, and I think it'd be pretty cool if they did it that way. I'm kind of curious to see Bray and Matt working together, if that's really what they're going to do with Bray. But he has to still be Bray.
Yeah,
He still has to have the dreads and the spookiness, and don't tweak him too much, because his character is so unique that there's still a chance of saving it in the end. If there's a big payoff at the end of this whole thing, if there's a big payoff and he goes back to being Bray Wyatt that we know, that could kind of give him an opportunity to redo it.
Well, I think it would be nice. They're showing these flashbacks of Bray, like during the deletion, they were showing Bray as the old white pants Hawaiian shirt, Cape Fear, Waylon Mercy. Kind of,
which I'm okay with.
Yeah, if they bring that back, that was the best version of Bray Wyatt, in my opinion. I think he killed it in that kind of role. So
you know what, I agree with that. But you know what, I think for Bray, the other thing too, and I know the Bludgeon Brothers are taking off and they're doing big things on their own, and
that shit stinks. Come on,
I love it. I
love them, but I think
I don't like the gimmick. Like, I don't like the entrance. I think sucks. But I love the rawness. Like, they just go in there and fucking demolish.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always been a fan of those two, and they're doing good things on their own. But I still would not be against putting the Wyatt family back together, minus Braun Strowman. He still needs to stay on his own. But I think you're
right. I think Braun can definitely stay on his own. He
has to. He has to stay on his own.
I think it would hurt Braun.
Yeah, to go back now? No, he couldn't. It would be, he could feud with them though.
Yeah. He's on a much higher level than Harper and Rowan, so he needs to be on his own.
Yeah.
Maybe both of them.
Although I think Luke Harper, if treated the right way, could be a main event player, because
there was a moment in time where it almost looked like they were going to push Harper to the main event, and he was
at WrestleMania last year.
Right, and then what the fuck happened? They just stopped.
I know, that was frustrating.
We need that a triple threat Wyatt family match.
Yeah, we never really got a resolution to those guys.
That's just
deal. It was like somebody got injured and then they just forgot about it.
Oh,
they separated them again.
Yeah. Right, then they separated them again. They keep going back and forth. I think it sticks this time. I don't think they go back, but
I agree.
But because I don't think it doesn't behoove anybody. But I think the Bludgeon Brothers thing is just a little. You know what? If they took it less seriously, if the Bludgeon Brothers were more like the Bash Brothers from the Mighty Ducks.
What if I kind of riff on Thor? They have the hammer.
They do, yeah. There's a room for some kind of something in there. There's just I agree with you, Steve. I like those guys. They can wrestle their asses off, but I think that the gimmick fucking just, I don't know. They come up with the hammers and they just don't seem sold on the like, first of all, they look like they weigh about 2 pounds.
Yeah.
They probably
They're
make squeaky noises too.
I can see that. Yeah.
Someone actually had posted on one of the chats on Facebook or whatever that the only thing that could save the Bludgeon Brothers is the Berserker coming out of retirement to be their manager.
Oh shit! If they got John Nord back, I'd pop. He was the fucking. He was one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
The Berserker. Oh yeah, he knocked always over the top rope. He won by countout. Come on.
You know that big ass sword he tried to stab Undertaker with?
He would swing a sword. He was
nuts. He was fucking nuts.
And what did he do? He used to go huss, or whatever it was.
Yeah, huss.
That was the Bruiser Brody thing.
Yeah, he did the Brody thing, but it was great.
Does he even I haven't heard anything of him in a long time. Is he even still wrestling?
No, he hasn't wrestled in years, but he's still alive.
Well, that's
he was one of those guys that went to school with Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude and all those guys.
Yeah, isn't it nice to hear that a guy who wrestled 30 years ago is still alive?
Right.
Doesn't happen too often, unfortunately.
Kind of sad that we have that. That's our metric.
Speaking of which, any update on Vader's heart surgery? I know it was like a 7-hour surgery.
Yeah, the kid, his son said it was successful on Face or Twitter rather.
Well, it's a long way to go.
A bit harder than it should have been.
Yeah, it was. They said it was. Wow, that's crazy to think though. And like I said on Twitter, he may have stolen some stuff out of my bag one time, but I don't want to see him die over it. I don't give that much of a shit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, he was still a name in this business.
Right? Yeah, I have no problem with him. I wish him well, but it's just funny to
you want your stuff.
No, it wasn't even my stuff. All right, here's the deal. And when I work wrestling shows, there are certain tasks that you're assigned that you just have to do. And one of mine was to get autographs on the posters. And the posters would go to the sponsors as a thank you because they would have paid several $100s for the privilege to be on, be a sponsor. So we gotta give them and it was a poster with everybody's name. So I don't even remember. Sergeant Slaughter, a bunch of people run that show. And I got the autographs done and I put them with my shoe bag and with my suit bag and all that stuff. And it was like a little locker and a chair, you know how that works. And Vader's stuff was he was the next one over. Okay. I come back, they're gone. Kurt is trying to give me shit about it. Like, well, where'd they go? You got like, and I understand it's my responsibility. Technically, I lost them, whatever. But when somebody takes them off of your chair and then just absconds with them, it's not really my fault. I'm going to defend myself a little bit there. So, yeah, Vader once stole a bunch of autographs out of my locker. But I still wish him well. I don't want to see him have a heart attack and die.
Not a capital punishment quite yet.
And right? Foley's been advocating hard for Vader to go in Hall of Fame, which I think he should.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
I think Vader is definitely a potential Hall of Famer, man. And anybody that tells you differently is wrong. Like he had such a good run in
WCW.
I mean WCW just alone, and then sure his WWF stuff wasn't great. Japan, ECW, his stuff with Taz was really good.
You know what? The stuff in WWE with Vader very early on when they first brought him in with Cornette, they were doing it right. And he was making an impact and he was just crushing people.
He attacked Gorilla Monsoon or
Gorilla Monsoon. Didn't he attack Marty Jannetty? I think, or something like he started running through people, and then he of course
not Marty. Oh no.
Well, but listen, back then Marty had just come back and he beat Shawn Michaels for the IC title, and then all of a sudden he just started to taper off like everyone else, and then years and years went by and that was kind of it. But WCW, he was awesome in WCW.
Oh, Vader was the man. He was like one of the first big guys to start doing the moonsault high spot thing, and then that led to like Meanie and everybody else doing a moonsault. My favorite story about Meanie learning how to do the moonsault was that Raven thought it would be funny to see a big fat guy do a moonsault, so he told Blue Meanie to learn how to do it.
That's hilarious.
Which is great. Just hey, you're fat, and I think it would be funny. Go do a moonsault. And you're like, okay, boss. But
let's not forget Vader on Boy Meets World.
right, he was a pop culture icon. People know who Vader is, even if it's aside from Darth Vader. People know Vader. Big Van Vader. It's Vader time. The fucking V thing.
Vader.
Yeah.
What's funny is I could remember him on Boy Meets World. I can't remember what his freaking son's name was to save my life.
I can picture him. Was it? Yeah, it was Frankie. He's right.
Thank you. Okay.
Frankie the Enforcer.
Yep, you're right.
And yeah.
Vince, I real quick too, because I feel like you probably know the answer to this, or somebody here must. But
Sure.
What exactly is going on with Charlotte Flair? Because I don't know. All of a sudden, now I'm hearing that she can't be in the mixed match challenge with Bobby Roode because she's injured. We're days away from Mania. Anyone know exactly what's going on and what the update is? And
I don't. I would assume it's a work to get them out of the tournament, but I don't know.
Oh, to really hand it over to, well, I guess it would be. Oh no, Braun and Bliss are out, right?
Yeah, they're gone.
So it'll be.
Yeah, they were supposed. Because they were supposed to face Sasha and Finn, weren't they?
I think it's gonna be the Asuka Miz thing, just because
Asuka's undefeated.
Yeah, the streak has to stay, and you can't give away. Here's the other thing: you can't give away Charlotte and Asuka before the big show.
Right. Very true.
There is an update. Pro Wrestling Sheet is saying it was oral surgery on her gums.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, then she'll be fine for Mania.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the most important thing, because I think her match with Asuka is going to be great.
All right, false alarm, everybody.
Yeah,
There's a potential for that to be the main event, by the way, going online right now, too.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's a petition online that people want Asuka Charlotte to be the main event at Mania.
That's not happening.
I know that. I'm just telling you what's out there.
I like Steve. I enjoy the way that you answered that so matter of factly.
Listen. I'm not have any say in how they book, but when you have AJ Shinsuke and you have Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle facing Triple H and Stephanie, and you have Undertaker, Cena, yes, people, it's happening. And you got any of those, they're not going to choose Charlotte Asuka for the main event. Like, that's just not ever going to happen. I mean, do I think the women can main event in Mania? Absolutely, but it's not going to happen now, and it's, and I don't think it needs to be. It doesn't need to be.
I agree.
In my opinion.
Doesn't need.
As long as it's not Cena Undertaker, I'm okay.
It's not going to be.
Fucking imagine the match that's going to have literally 0 days of promotion behind it is going to be in the main event. People would shit themselves.
I don't know.
Pretty much.
People know it's happening. So the buildup is knowing that they haven't confirmed it, but it's happening. You know what I mean? So like, in a way, like, I guess Undertaker's just one of those guys that you really just don't need to build up because you get so excited
because
knowing
people
that he's
already know he's there. Yeah,
right. The one thing that sucks is everyone needs to mentally prepare. This is not going to be the dead man. This is going to be the American Badass, and Kid Rock is going to play him to the ring. But
cannot wait for people to be mad about that.
That was actually a question tonight. That was actually one of our questions tonight. If we thought that was going to happen.
Well, yeah, I firmly believe that the dead man has retired, the American Badass has not, and that's what we're going to see.
What if we get
and that would explain why he left his jacket, gloves, and hat in the middle of the ring to retire that part of himself. That's the only thing that makes sense, in my opinion. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. But
Amanda, our boyfriend Mike Evans actually wrote that question in, and Steve already took care of it. So
that's Mike from the comment section, right? Or from the live chat? Hey, all right. How's it going? Good question. I think it's very possible that Kid Rock is going to play the Undertaker to the ring, only because the other option is to follow up on his WrestleMania, what was it, 25 performance, where he played all of the divas to the ring. That was okay. That was the worst, because it was like, hey, look, we got back, like, didn't Medusa come back for that one, or somebody came back specifically for that? And
I don't remember.
didn't treat whomever it was particularly well. It was just like, here's Kid Rock playing you to the ring. Have fun. Like, oh, thanks. It really wasn't as big. Like it probably would have gone over better.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
Winning
it wasn't. It was not good. It wasn't great. And I'll admit, even as somebody who doesn't hate Kid Rock like other people do here, like Eric, that was not a good, objectively not a good performance. So
at least he didn't forget his lyrics, like
it's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the play.
Your ass.
It's all about the game and how you game it. I say game again and then I'm gonna game it. It was not, yeah, Lemmy. Oh, God bless Lemmy, crazy dead bastard. But he was not so good at that part of it. The remembering of the words.
No,
but hey, he
struggled.
He lived a hard Scrabble life. I understand the struggle. Oh, freaking Lemmy. He was a trip. All right, so while we're at it, we should probably just keep going with these questions since we're on a roll. Right?
Actually, real quick, before we get into the questions, one other question I have for the panel. How did we feel about Ronda's appearance last night on Raw? Because there's been a lot of back and forth, obviously, on social media. A lot of people thought it was absolutely shit, and she doesn't seem to be getting better. That's stuff that I'm reading and seeing. I happen to completely disagree, but I wanted your thoughts. I thought it was a decent segment.
I just want to know who did her makeup.
Oh, there was a thing.
There was a lot of thing about her makeup. I thought the eye makeup made her look pretty badass, actually. Like almost like her eyes were bloody a little bit, you know, like not blood because it wasn't red, but
I was wondering, did she just go swimming or something?
Did she just go swimming? Really? Oh man!
You guys really think she really looked that bad with that eye makeup?
Yes.
It looked a little bit awkward.
I mean, you're women, so I'll take your word for it.
Well, I heard complaints on.
I think.
I saw a whole thing online kind of complaining about the women's makeup in general recently, which is funny to think about that people are that focused on like women's makeup in the wrestling business. But hey, do you?
But you know what? They're kind of right. Ronda Rousey,
but they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
And I say it almost every week. Every week they do something to Nia Jax that just does not make her. Whether it's the bad hair, the teasing of the hair that one week, or they do the eye makeup too much, they do things all the time to her. And she is a gorgeous girl.
Or that saddle ass costume they make her wear.
I'm not. You know what? I'm over the costume because they're not going to change the costume for whatever reason. I don't understand why. Maybe at WrestleMania we'll get lucky, but they just keep doing things just to make her look like fucking nasty, and she's really not.
Well, maybe they'll soften now that she's a baby face.
Yeah.
But like, you know, because like Amanda and I went at that one week, like when that 3 weeks straight when she was doing the whole Enzo Amore thing where they braided her hair down the side and it had all the colors, she looked amazing, and she had light makeup on. It was all good.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. She looked good there, man. She's not
they could have booked the match better though.
Well, listen, outside of Ronda's makeup, what did you guys think of this segment?
I like how we went off on the makeup thing.
Ronda's new finisher is give someone pink eye.
That's wonderful.
I don't think it was that bad. I've seen worse.
No, I don't care about it. It was like that was like.
I thought this, and here's the thing: she's in the ring with Absolution, which aside from Paige is a bunch of new girls anyway. They're like. They're not the most experienced. She's not the most experienced. If you're expecting Flair Steamboat out of that segment, I'm sorry to say.
Another thing coming.
The only thing that worries me is that suplex where she throws the person on their face. Basically, it worries me a little bit.
Yeah,
see, I like that because it's like
it's different,
right? Yeah. It's there's like a sense of danger to it, like she's actually going to hurt him, you know. And I don't condone anybody actually getting hurt. While trying to fake, this is fake fighting. It's not supposed to hurt, but
well, see, that's going to be the hardest part for Ronda learning is because she's trying to hurt somebody. She has to learn
Exactly.
how not to hurt.
Well, yeah, but that suplex and the way they're falling and this and that, it's talked about. Like it's meant to be. They're doing it in a way that they're going to be able to protect themselves, like they always do. The only critique I would really say is that, and maybe it's just me, but I feel like a lot of Ronda's punches, like there's always like a delay. Like she'll block, and then it's like held too long before she reacts and does the big move, or it should be more fluid. Outside of that, I like it, but it just seems kind of robotic in a way.
She's just like half a step behind. Yeah, I get what you mean. There's a little.
She
It's like
also
hesitation.
smiles way too much.
She did a much better job
I get
this
you're
week.
very happy to be there, but you're supposed to be this like tough, badass, arm breaking girl who's coming in from UFC, and you're just like, oh my god.
But when she puts on that face, though, when she puts on that badass,
when she puts that mean face on, everybody. Yeah.
But I will say this too, Amanda, to your point, she definitely, I thought, toned back the smiling a lot this past week compared to the other week. So I think somebody is actually telling her,
hey,
like,
but when she walked out, she's just like smiley. She's just
She didn't pull
overcome
the
by
Linda
the
Blair.
reaction.
She didn't pull the Linda Blair with the head to the side with the big smile this time. There you go, Vince. Exactly.
That just reminds me of the what's his name, Nick D'Onofrio from Law and Order: Criminal Intent, when he would interrogate somebody.
Yep.
Oh man.
Did you see this?
Just now.
I'm listen.
Becky Lynch.
Anybody who thinks that Ronda is going to step into this and just be
amazing,
natural, like, come on. The only people I've seen do that were The Rock and Kurt Angle.
Angle, right.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock had his WWF tryout without ever having taken wrestling lessons. He went and trained with Meng and his dad, and then did the tryout, and then started to learn how to wrestle.
Well, Vince, now, to be fair, though,
he's a Samoan. He's related.
He's Samoan related, and he grew up around the business. So, I mean,
then look at Kurt Angle, who transitioned like nobody in history. Yeah, Kurt Angle took a while for the character to get there. He was, although that first thing with Taz, when Taz choked him out, and he's like, "It's an illegal choke. I'm not undefeated. I'm still undefeated." That shit was brilliant. I love that. That was kind of like the impetus for Kurt to turn from kind of a generic wrestler guy into more of a character. But wrestling wise, he took to it really fast, and it's a different discipline. People think that Ronda, I don't know what they assume Ronda's background is. She's a judo player, which is the technical term. She is a judo practitioner. That's throws. It's not grappling. She does some jujitsu to transition into the arm bars, but it's jujitsu. It's not Greco-Roman wrestling. It's not the moves that you're going to be used to seeing. There's a video on Twitter of Shayna Baszler and Ronda grappling at the Performance Center, and you watch it, and it's a legit. They're actually going through like a warm-up that you would do in a jiu-jitsu class. It looks completely different from pro wrestling. They're not grabbing a hold and this and that and all the others. It's more fluid than that, and I think people are going to have to get used to a different style, because she's not going to come out. She's not going to do the fucking Kelly China cartwheel, handspring, back elbow into the turnbuckle, followed by a bulldog, and then a Thez press with a bunch of slaps and pull the girl's hair. Listen, we know all those.
Thank God.
Are dead. That shit's gone. So
it's like the same thing when Shamrock and Dan Severn came in, though, too.
Yeah. Right, you had to get used to that, and people never really got used to Dan Severn, and I think Dan Severn is a bad motherfucker, and him. Okay,
or Steve Blackman even too.
Blackman, yeah, but that's the thing.
No personality. That was the problem with both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! You didn't like the glow sticks going? Yeah, okay.
No personality.
I liked when Dan Severn came out in the cutoff sweatshirt, and he came out looking like the world's angriest gym teacher.
Yeah,
that was his gimmick. Was just like, I told you to put down the dodgeballs and take apart the volleyball net, and he was just
what was the bombard? That was Simpsons bombardment.
See, I thought you were going with bombastic Bart. and Bodacious whatever the fuck Bob, because they were all part of that NWA stable together.
Kids aren't even freaking allowed to play dodgeball anymore, man.
Nope. And I heard that they switched them out. Even when I was in school, they switched from the rubber balls to like foam balls, which never really, the trajectory is terrible on foam balls. Yeah, and then the kickball.
They can't play that either.
They can't play that either. Wow.
What's wrong with kickball?
God, we got to stop serving soy in our schools.
Ball, you got hit in the face, man.
That's right. You can get hit in the face by a fucking rubber ball, and then you realize the world is not all sunshine and
dodgeball
blowjobs.
control.
Nope.
What was his name?
And if you play tag, you're only allowed shoulder contact. You're not allowed any other physical contact besides the shoulder. What have got detention? Kindergarten.
That's right, kids.
You take them to Suplex City.
God,
this is Patches O'Houlihan
right now.
We need Patches O'Houlihan to teach you the rules of dodgeball.
If you can dodge a red, dodgeball.
Dodgeball was invented in Chinese opium dens.
All I know is that bitch can play.
That dyke can throw. What the fuck was that about? He just goes and says it. Oh, I love that old man. I aspire to be him. Rip Torn lives in Connecticut and about 10 years ago drunkenly broke into a bank because he thought it was his house.
Yep.
And he was carrying a pistol at the time, so it was almost like he was trying to hold up the bank, but he was just trying to break in because he thought it was his house and he forgot his keys. What a wonderful older gentleman. Any other things we need to address before we get to the questions that were asked?
I got something real quick.
All right.
There's rumors about this women's tag titles, right?
Okay, and cruiserweight tag titles.
And I'm not necessarily for or against. I can't make a decision until I do it. Here's my question to you guys. Will it be across the board as far as both brands? Will it be one set of women's tag titles, or will they do two?
I don't think we can answer that question.
That'd be way too much.
Because here's the thing: if they do a set of tag titles for the women, right?
Yeah.
And they go to both shows, then it kind of makes it pointless to have two singles women's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that means that now you've got 4 more champions and 4 more belts on television. Like, how much
that would
is
be overkill if they did 2 sets of women's tag titles? It'd be.
I would tend to agree.
We'll have to see exactly what they do.
Man,
early.
I'm not necessarily knocking it. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure they've got a plan for everything. They've got a plan for that. They're going to United Arab Emirates or something. They're going somewhere and having a.
By the way, the women will not be on that big.
No, they will not.
Giant Royal Rumble thing.
That doesn't surprise me.
Will they have any women's matches or no?
There are 0 women's matches happening on that card because of the restrictions.
There's not allowed to be.
I wonder
Because
why.
it's a fucking backwards ass country.
Yes, thank you, Eric, for not making me the one to say that and start talking about shithole countries.
They treat their women like shit.
Yes.
So let's get into this.
Here we go. Yeah, thank you. Let's segue into another point.
Questions. Woo!
Okay. Let's see. We have our regular Andre from New Mexico. This is now his 5th question that he's put in.
Hey, all right. I like Andre. He has good questions.
Yeah, well, this was actually a very good one. Jeff Hardy already failed the wellness program twice in the past. Is this latest DUI a 3 strikes you're out?
Starts over, in my opinion. He was gone too long.
Yeah, you think it starts over before the contract deal? I don't know. I don't know the terms.
Well, I'll say this: if it didn't, then he would be fired. And
that's true.
So
that's the ultimate deletion.
So
yeah, why would he show up with the ultimate deletion?
Right.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
But still an interesting point, though, that if past superstars, if they've done it twice and then come in, do they start all over again? But okay, well, did you learn anything while you were gone, so to speak,
It's a phenomenal question, but I do think that it kind of resets after X amount of years of being gone with the company. I don't know for sure. I haven't seen the actual policy, but that would be my guess because quite honestly, if this truly is his considered 3rd, then they would have had to edit him out of that.
Yeah, you would think they wouldn't have included him in the Ultimate Deletion.
He also had the match at the
Saudi Arabia event.
Yeah.
You're sending us the substance abuse and drug testing.
That match, he was reading it.
And there's also the possibility that some guys, maybe they had a third strike, but they just swept it under the rug because they're big stars.
Randy Orton?
Yeah.
Randy Orton has about 7 and keeps taking classes or whatever. They keep falling off. They're like DUIs or like on your car insurance. If you have a car accident 5 years ago, it falls off.
Yeah, if you, what is it? You go to rehab, you get 1 or 2 strikes taken off.
Yeah.
They said Randy go to rehab. He said no.
Excellent. Thank you for
That's
that.
the only Amy Winehouse song I know, and I only know her.
Only
I don't know her
alcohol
music. I just know that one song and that she was a fucking drunkard or druggie or whatever.
Then she was dead.
Yeah. That's all I know about her.
I want a show where we just list off names of celebrities that Eric only kind of knows, and just to get his impression about him, because that was just beautifully succinct. I know she was a big drinker. Just boom, there we go. We covered Amy Winehouse.
Don't more people know about her?
Her name is Winehouse.
And her music.
Hey Ryan, nobody's going to read this policy. What does it say? I can't switch my screen.
That was the best.
That they can't be drunk while performing.
Well, duh.
Well, yeah.
That's the extent of the alcohol.
No shit comes to mind on that one.
Yeah, but like it doesn't say anything about. It doesn't specifically mention like DUIs or anything. All right, I got you.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's because think about it. Jack Swagger got pulled over. Well, that was possession of marijuana, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he won the Elimination Chamber like 2 weeks later.
It says don't go drunk to the ring. It doesn't say anything about RVD smoking before he goes to the ring.
And
Just
then
don't
they
go
won
just
SmackDown.
turning point. That's all.
Yeah, I enjoyed I enjoyed that the idea of Jack Swagger like going back. Listen, man, it's not illegal. It's just possession. Like he's trying to make his case, and he's
And
We the people.
yes.
Here's the thing: when Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan got pulled over for weed, WWE wasn't mad at them for that. They were mad at them for like the whole kayfabe.
It was coke. It wasn't.
Being in
Why
the
are
same
you two in a car together?
Right, yeah, they were mad because they broke kayfabe, and now then you think back to the RVD Sabu situation, and that was a completely other way to look
I
at
think
it.
they went way too harsh on that.
Oh, you mean to strip the guy of every title he had, and then just like disavow him? Write him off the face of the fucking earth. He was written off the face of the earth like Jeff Jarrett was for the last 12 years.
I can't wait to be alone with my... Okay.
Yeah,
I told you.
That's himself.
That was the news today. I just heard the news today. The Road Dogg is inducting Jeff Jarrett in the Hall of Fame.
Woohoo!
That's the news that I saw. And then they made the graphic where Road Dogg is like 3 times the size of Jeff Jarrett, and you got a teeny little Jeff Jarrett in the corner, like, oh, this guy's here too.
I mean,
I work here.
He's the only one that makes sense to induct.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Into the Hall of Fame. So I'm very excited about that.
And they have to do with My Baby Tonight then.
Yes.
If he's
Yes.
there. That's really what it comes down to.
I hope they don't.
You hope
Oh,
they
they
don't.
do.
I want Colonel Robert Parker out there too.
Tennessee Lee.
Yes, I'm sorry. He was Tennessee Lee, not Colonel Robert Parker at the time. He needs to be out there.
And he couldn't spell Jeff Jarrett. He used to screw up all the time. It's J-E-double-F.
They need Todd
Hey.
Pettengill for that.
Did you ever see? Did you ever see? There's a picture of Colonel Parker. He's on Twitter. He's got a podcast too, of course, because everybody who wrestled in the 80s or 90s has a podcast now.
Yep.
The guy's got a hog on him. Like, I hate to be vulgar, but if oh my god, it's distracting. Like, the guy's just got a huge donger.
So next question.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight now, thinking of Colonel Parker's. Yeah.
Dong.
Dong. I just said dong.
That dong.
Colonel Roberts
my-
Parker.
Colonel Roberts Parker. There you go. No. Okay.
Colonel Roberts.
Randy from California. Even though this question wasn't derived for Vince, this one's definitely going to go more towards Vince because we don't know how much he loves Daniel Bryan.
Oh, geez.
Biggest fan
With
over
the-
there.
With the return of Daniel Bryan, should the WWE force Daniel Bryan to only perform in a choreographed match for both his and the WWE's protection?
I heard this week. First of all, I heard a bunch of conflicting stuff because tell me if this makes sense. In Newsweek, a doctor who supposedly examined Daniel Bryan spoke to them and said that he shows no signs of brain trauma. False, sir. Please turn in your medical license. Somebody who's had upwards of 10 concussions in their life definitely has signs of brain trauma. So please don't bring that shit to me. What was it? Go ahead, Kev.
The whole
Kevin.
thing
Right.
that Daniel Bryan was doing was reversing his damage.
All of this
Don't shoot the messenger.
reversing brain damage. So now we're into Star Trek science. All right.
Hey.
The other thing that I heard was that according to Wrestling Observer, and again, you take it with a grain of salt because it's from the Observer, but they heard that Daniel Bryan's going to undergo impact testing after every match, which tells me that maybe the guy who said that there's no signs of brain trauma wasn't exactly being forthcoming, because why would you undergo impact testing after every match if there wasn't some sort of risk or signs of brain trauma? Do the other people who wrestle on the WWE roster have to go through the same process? No. So that tells me they're making a special case here. And I understand what they're saying about choreographed match, but yeah, I mean, every match is choreographed to an extent. WrestleMania 3, Macho Man and Steamboat was choreographed, but they still did high spots.
Right.
That's
Best
the thing.
match of all time, in my opinion.
Right, and here's the thing. I heard Daniel Bryan was developing a new style, and he was going to take less dangerous bumps. And there he is taking the turn or the power bomb on the apron, and then he was doing those one-legged drop kicks where he was landing on his head. It's like, I think if he's going to come back in, he goes the jiu-jitsu route, the grappling route. If he's supposedly the best wrestler in the world, then he doesn't need to do all the other bullshit like dive. He should wrestle. Yeah. So if that's what the way they want to go, Mr. Supposed best wrestler in the world, even though you're not Chris Jericho or CM Punk or Ric Flair. Yeah, I just think I think if they're serious about head trauma, they'll show it by the way that Daniel Bryan wrestles going forward. If they're not serious about it, he's just going to be going out there doing the same shit that he did before. And already, as soon as I heard that he was undergoing impact testing after every match, that's a big red flag for me. I really don't feel comfortable watching him perform. It's going to be really uncomfortable at WrestleMania because you're just going to be like, are we going to see something bad happen? So
it did start to get uncomfortable after a while last week.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's what they're going for, knowing that he's perfectly healthy, and we're gonna get the reaction. But it's like, I don't want to see somebody come out of retirement and then go right back into retirement because some bad shit happened.
As long as he doesn't have that stupid headbutt fest like he did with Ziggler on the top of that ladder a couple.
That was terrible.
That was completely unnecessary.
I have to go with my position from last week and say that if WWE is giving him the green light, they have to be confident that he's okay. I have to believe that, because otherwise, what does that say about WWE? So I have to think that.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand that they believe that he's.
That's not the position I don't think anyone's taking. I just think it's also the fear factor behind it.
It seems contradictory. Is all I'm saying.
Joe Rogan.
Is that right? It just seems contradictory that you're still there, right? There, I hid the window. I pressed Control H. I'm sorry. I was trying to hide another window. So I don't know. It just seems conflicting that yes, I'm perfectly healthy, but then I have to undergo the impact test after every match. But this doctor says I don't have brain trauma, but this
precaution.
Maybe it's better safe than sorry. I don't know. It just seems like an awful lot of shit to go through when you're a fucking millionaire.
It's extensive.
It's like you've already made your money. You won the WWE title at WrestleMania. You beat Evolution at WrestleMania, which is,
but Vince, it's not about the money. I mean, they have money between him and Brie and the money she makes outside of wrestling.
Right.
I mean,
So
they have money. It's about this is all he ever loved.
It's selfish. It's selfish. It's an ego thing where he's like, oh, I can have that second Shawn Michaels run. I could wrestle for another 10 years. You've got a wife and kids. It's. I understand he wants to perform and that's his love, but he's still involved in wrestling. He can still do other things with professional wrestling that won't harm his neck or his spinal cord or his brain. There are other things.
That's not what he wants to do, though.
Yeah.
And he is entitled to his American dream and exercising his rights. I just I don't like. Something feels. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like watching somebody get paralyzed on the football field and then they come back a couple seasons later. Hey guys, I'm good. It's like, I don't know. You're going into a car crash every single night when you perform, and you've already been told that you should stop. And now just, a 3-year vacation is the solution. You go and take some salt baths in Tahiti or something. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
I wish I listened to that podcast before I jumped on.
Which podcast was that?
With Edge and Christian a while back.
Oh.
That's how I got the statement that his treatments were supposedly.
That's just it. Doesn't that seem weird though? I don't know. The whole thing just seems weird.
Everything seems kind of weird now. I mean,
yeah, it's just we're in a odd times, I suppose.
Don't you miss the days you didn't know any of this stuff? They just rode off into the sunset.
Well, I lost my smile, and I didn't want to put over Brett. So thank you.
I will willingly admit I cried at that.
All right, thank you for bringing up crying. I've been trying to shoehorn this in all day. I was on Reddit watching New Japan Pro Wrestling, following along with the Reddit comments. After the main event, which was the Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, they faced the Young Bucks. People were commenting, oh, this is such a beautiful match. I cried. Oh, I'm not crying. You're crying. Motherfucker, if you're crying over a wrestling match and you're a grown-ass 40-something-year-old man slobbing over Cheetos in your grandma's basement, find something better to do with your life. Goddamn, take up knitting. Like, what the fuck? You're crying over wrestling? Ric Flair didn't retire. Owen Hart didn't die. Eddie Guerrero didn't die. You shouldn't cry over it. The only acceptable time to cry is when somebody retires or dies. Period.
I always cry.
But sign up for TakeMeADate.com when it's up and running.
Yes, because then you will find somebody who can cry along to the Golden
You can cry
Lovers.
together like the Big Show.
So the tag team is called the Golden Lovers, as we've said a couple of times, which is Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. And they were facing the Young Bucks. JR was on the call, and JR is kind of an older gentleman now.
Yeah,
distinguished older gentleman. So here's the deal: he accidentally mushed the two team names together, and he called the team the Golden or the Young Lovers. And the worst part about that is the finisher for the Golden Lovers is called the Golden Shower.
Oh jeez.
Unfortunately, JR said, well, it looks like the Young Lovers are going for a golden shower. I'm like, no, JR, don't do it.
Best comment ever.
Something else on his screen.
Right? They're like,
I'm pissed.
So thank you for the question. Whoever asked that one about Daniel Bryan, thank you for your service. In the words of
God, that's awful.
Jesse Ventura, you know exactly what I was talking. Thank you for your service.
And I think we have two comments, right, from Medulla.
Yes. Medulla's first one was forget it. I got nothing. I'm staying silent tonight.
What was that about?
And then this morning I get forget it. I can't stay silent.
He tried so hard and got so far.
Right. With this email.
Oh no.
What would be cool if WWE led us down a path with The Undertaker only to get Cena standing in the ring, waiting for the gong, and all of a sudden Samoa Joe's music hits? It would be a great twist.
Oh, so he's saying twist, Undertaker no shows completely. Like it was like real, like to give it that real feel.
Yep, and it becomes Samoa Joe.
Managed by Vince Russo.
I actually would be okay with that.
That smells like a
I agree.
swerve if I ever heard one.
I like it better than what we got going on right now.
I will say this, though. They will get a lot of backlash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of backlash. I think it's great, but they'll get a lot of heat for that.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to Cornette, of course, because political opinions aside, him and I are about as far apart as you can get on that. Him and I are both crotchety old men when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. So he said something to the effect of what I had said a couple weeks ago is, what good does this match do anybody? John Cena, who's a part-timer, loses to a guy who's even more part-time than him, or The Undertaker, who's now a part-timer, loses to John Cena, who's like, it just doesn't help anybody. And
he just turned 53.
Yeah. Who, The Undertaker?
Yeah, he literally just turned 53 2 days ago.
Yes, yeah, I saw that online.
That's how I feel about the match. It doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's productive for, aside from the fact that it's a dream match. And yes, I mean, listen, it's cool that this is happening. It's different. You know, this was a match we really should have gotten in like 06, 07.
Yeah.
3 years ago at the
right. I was just going to say how a decade ago. God, I'm saying that so flippantly, like, oh, it should have happened in 07, like it was last week or something.
Feels
before
like
Order was born. Let's put it that way.
It should have happened instead of the Hell in a Cell with Triple H that year.
Huh. Yeah, they didn't need 3 matches with Triple H at WrestleManias for Undertaker.
That'd be a good.
Yeah, there were a lot of.
Although they completely ignore the one at WrestleMania 17.
I thought that was funny that they would do that because it was why it happened. You don't like they're acknowledging the streak and this whole thing, and Triple H is like, "I'm gonna break the streak." It's like you already tried to break the streak. It didn't happen. So
you had 2 chances.
Can you imagine? I had 2 strikes, and this is my third.
3, or else I'm out.
Welcome to the Shitty Triple H Impersonation Podcast.
Hey, so real quick, because I think we're done with the questions and we're almost top of the hour. Real quick, just want to throw out a big thank you. So tagmeadate.com is growing at a rapid pace, and the activity and the amount of impressions on the site have just been off the charts. So thank you to everybody that's checking it out and signing up and doing all that. And because of the increase, we have had to shut down, and we are in the process of moving to a larger server. With
you bastards crashed our server.
What?
It's a good thing.
They broke the internet.
It's a very good thing. We're moving to a bigger plan with more space, more RAM, more hardware, so that we can keep it going strong. The apps are coming soon. We are going to be ready to start testing Apple shortly. So early 2018, the apps are coming, and should be a game changer. We're pretty excited. So thank you everybody for checking it out, and just bear with us while we're going through some maintenance.
That's right.
Be back up shortly.
Just doing a little housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Need me to fix your pillow? No.
Go away for the love of God.
What kind of place is this? Housekeeping? You want me jerk you off?
You want me jerk you off? That's not the best way.
Oh, Richard.
What kind of a place? Oh, God. Don't hide your feelings.
We're all going to hell. It's all right.
I love Tommy Boy.
Chris Farley was great. So was that it for the questions?
Yeah, that was it. Medulla's last 2 comments were, I got to save him for last, man, because he cracks me up.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's great. So everybody that asked a question will be entered in our monthly WrestleRumble.com pay-per-view pick'em. Of course, WrestleMania is coming up. Well, NXT is coming up, too, so I suppose you have a choice as to which one you want to try your hand at.
Or do both.
Or you can do both. Yeah. So if you submit a question to hashtag AskTheWarReport or AskTheWarReport@gmail.com, either way, we receive it, and you will be entered into our pay-per-view pick'em contest, our monthly pay-per-view pick'em. and you will get your very own Wrestle Rumble pick based on. There's no real rubric. It's either the question that we think is the funniest, the most insightful, the one that gets us talking the most. There are different ways to consider what we call like the quote unquote best, and it's not even the best. I don't even want to say it's the best question. It's just the one that brings us some sort of right, yeah, some sort of emotion. Wonderful. Yeah. So if you believe you can bring the noise and bring the funk to us on a question, submit your question to AskTheWarReport@gmail.com or hashtag AskTheWarReport on social media. And so Amanda, since we're talking about this wonderful WrestleRumble.com, could you inform us as to what the prizes are for one of these competitions?
Yep. Okay, so NXT, we have some great prizes. We have, for first place, is the NXT Championship belt.
That's cool.
And you get 50 MVP points. Second to fifth place, you also get 50 MVP points. 6th to 10th, 45 MVP points. 11th to 15th, 40 MVP points. And 16th to 20th place, you get 35 MVP points. The NXT Pick'em, I guess, is more for people who are in the MVP race, because this could really be a game changer for them. They could easily bump up themselves up to first place and win that custom belts by Belts by Dan. Sorry.
Yes, Leather by Dan, Belts by Dan. Very good company. I won't give them a free plug because they pay for advertisement on a whole bunch of podcasts with Bruce Pritchard. So, speaking of podcasts,
advertise for another one. Wink, wink.
Well, you know what? I have to say this out loud. I've emailed Matt Kuhn from MLW Radio twice now, trying to ask him how much it costs to advertise Tag Me a Date on Tony Schiavone's podcast, because part of me really wants to hear TagMeADate.com is the best site in the history of our great sport. Like, I want to hear it. I want Tony Schiavone to say some we're almost out of time. Tape machines are rolling. We'll see you on Thunder. You know, that kind of deal. Tony Schiavone is my favorite.
I love Tony Schiavone.
So, Tony Schiavone was the best.
So Matt Kuhn, I've emailed you twice, and I'm not saying anything. His last name is Kuhn. I'm sorry, Koon. Matt MATTKOON.com. I emailed him and I tried to get the rates. He hasn't gotten back to me. Now, one time was because they thought the Schiavone show was ending. And guess what? WHW Monday with Tony Schiavone is not ending. His family convinced him to keep going with the podcast. There were some people on Twitter trying to get him fired from his real life jobs for stuff he said on the podcast. Like, real bullshit stuff was happening. So he just thought it wasn't worth it. But literally thousands of people reached out and talked to him and tried to convince him. So
stay on back.
Yeah, and I'll definitely stay on that, because I'll try and open up to all of MLW Radio, see what the rates are for the different shows, because the next show, Conrad Thompson, when he heard that Tony Schiavone was leaving the podcast game, contacted his backup plan to bring back to have a new podcast. So now Conrad's just got an additional podcast with Eric Bischoff.
Oh, nice.
So now you've got an all Bischoff podcast where they're probably going to do like pay-per-views, like go like watch along a pay-per-view and get Eric's take on it as it's going on. You've got Tony Schiavone's WHW Mondays, and there's the Pritchard Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, all of them on MLW. So it's interesting that Eric Bischoff is getting back into podcasting. I know he's one of those guys like Russo, where you either love him or you hate him. But I'll be interested to see. I'll give him a shot.
Bischoff, I don't hate him. I don't love him.
I love him.
I really like Eric Bischoff. I mean, yes. I mean, okay. I love Paul Heyman too. But we can acknowledge that he pulled some shitty business moves. It's just you can acknowledge the bad things along with the good, and I still overall have a positive opinion.
Someone can say that Vince pulled shitty business moves over the years too, though. So you know, I said some in case someone's listening. I said some. I didn't say us.
Right.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yes, it's 8:04. Oh shoot, SmackDown has started.
And Roseanne's back on too.
Oh yes, Roseanne on ABC. Everybody, I got to go watch that too. I'll DVR it, I think. So thank you for listening to the War Report, brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for fans of professional wrestling, with a roster of over 75,000 superstars and divas that are currently literally crashing our servers trying to find a match. It is free to sign up tagmeadate.com. You can upload a profile picture or a promo video. You can search for your tag team match on based on pay-per-view, favorite wrestler, favorite manager, all those kinds of things, as well as location searching and zip code searching. So you can find your match wherever you may be. We are opened up pretty much all over the world, right? You can register from anywhere. It's free to sign up. Again, a lot of those dating sites have extra features that they charge. We don't charge you for anything. There's messaging right within the application, right within the site, rather. That's very similar to a Facebook Messenger. You can send emojis and smiley faces and all that crappy bullshit. You can send you can send like heart faces and all that crap that.
Sorry, I just like
the crappy bullshit. Yeah, I doubled down on the poop thing, crappy bullshit.
But roll double down.
But no, you don't need to send that. You need to send a steel chair. I heart you.
All right, you know what? We got to talk. I don't want to put too much of a pressure on our developers in India because they're already working on the apps. So once the apps and the website are up and running, then we can hit you in the face with a chair emojis instead of waving hi on Facebook or poking. You've been hit with a chair, and it's just. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Chair.
That's what I'm saying. That'd be hot.
Poking.
I still think
I like you. You hit you with a chair. I don't like you. I put you through a table.
I think there should be one called the hot tag. That's like the super swipe on Tinder. You should have the hot tag, and you should automatically see that's a premium feature. We can charge for that one for 99 cents.
There you go.
You send a hot tag, and you get an automatic match with the person. It's like Ricky and Bobby, the old Midnight Express hot tag. No, so visit tagmeadate.com. Enjoy Smackdown. Go to WrestleRumble.com. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube.com. Type in Tag Me a Date. All one word. Squish together. No spaces. Tag Me a Date. Subscribe. Also hit the bell so you get an alert when we go live. We go live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern time. There's already been a time zone change. So if you're watching us right now live, you don't need to worry about it for another 6 months or so. I think that's it. Thank you for tuning in. And on behalf of everybody here from the War Report, brought to you by tagmeadate.com, we thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.